Hey, Meghann, Scully, and this is the Limerick Post Show. We're here in University Hospital Limerick, and I'm joined by Dr Orla Neylon, and we're going to talk about type 1 diabetes. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions around it, and can you tell me one of the main ones?
There certainly is. Thanks very much for coming to talk to us today, because this is a big issue that our children, young people, and even adults with type 1 diabetes are faced with every day. Type 1 diabetes is a rising chronic condition of childhood. Everyone associates diabetes maybe with type 2 diabetes, because 80% of all diabetes is type 2 diabetes, and that is often associated with maybe a less healthy lifestyle, with less healthy food choices and increased weight. Type 1 diabetes is entirely different, and over 90% of diabetes of childhood is type 1 diabetes. So this is an autoimmune condition, meaning the person's own immune system, instead of protecting them from viruses and germs, etc., has become confused and is attacking the insulin producing cells in their pancreas, so they can no longer make insulin. So this is entirely not their fault. This is somebody who's been born with a genetic predisposition to getting this condition, and then unfortunately comes into contact with something in their environment that triggers it. And we think currently that might be a virus. So it's very challenging for young people with this burdensome condition to then meet people who think it's their fault, or they ate it by getting too many sweets, etc., which it's not at all.
In what age were you diagnosed with type 1 diabetes?
I was 11.
And can you remember when you were first diagnosed?
Yeah, I remember it really well, actually. My dad is actually type 1 as well. And my mother caught it really early on, and I just went into the hospital and I was out within a week.
And did you have particular symptoms?
I was drinking a lot, which is one of the first symptoms.
And how do you manage it now?
I manage it. I have an insulin pump and I carb count, and my brother was actually diagnosed a week after me. So we all just kind of work together and just manage it together, and it's really normal in our family.
So does that mean then after each meal you have to look into what you're eating?
It's before each meal, and we'd weigh our food and you'd work out how many carbs are and everything, and you'd dose according to that.
And if you could tell maybe people that don't know what type 1 diabetes is, what's kind of main message you'd like to get across?
Well, I'd like them to realise that it's not our fault, that we didn't cause this, and that we can't really be blamed, and
Absolutely.
we have to live with.
Absolutely. Well, do you know what? I hope after today and after all chatting to all you guys that more people are going to know exactly what type 1 diabetes is. Thank you so much for chatting to us. Now, Finn, tell me, what age are you?
8.
And when did you first get diagnosed with type 1 diabetes?
3.
3 years old. And can you remember when you were here in hospital first?
No.
And do you know now how to manage your diabetes?
Yeah, a lot.
And have you learnt loads about it?
Yeah.
And how is everyone in school? Do people know what type 1 diabetes is now?
Some people don't, but a lot of my friends do.
But we're going to try to teach everyone about it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Thank you for chatting to us.
You're welcome.
Now, Nikki, can you tell me about when you were first diagnosed?
I was first diagnosed when I was 4, nearly 5.
And now, do you know everything about type 1 diabetes, and do you know kind of what to look out for?
Mainly, yeah.
And how is it now when you go to school?
Like, it's really good because my friends and my teachers in the school are really, helpful with it, and they're always there to help.
Do you think, though, maybe more people need to know about type 1 diabetes?
Honestly, I do, because a lot of people get type 1 and type 2 confused and assume that everyone has it over sugar and stuff, and it's not.
And did you get to celebrate Onesie Day?
No.
I think next year we're going to make sure that loads of people get together and put on a onesie for the day to celebrate it and to let people know more about type 1 diabetes.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Nikki, for chatting to the Limerick Post Show. Now, Martin, tell me, what age are you?
I'm 8.
And when did you get diagnosed with type 1 diabetes?
2, nearly 3 years ago.
And do you know how to manage it now?
Well, yeah.
And you have a pump now, so every day. And how do you find it getting around school?
Easy.
And is everyone supportive?
Yeah, most people.
And we're going to teach more people about type 1 diabetes today, aren't we?
Yeah.
Thanks for chatting to the Limerick Post Show.
Okay. I can turn it on there, and I can press bonus, do that, and then I press bonus wizard. I draw up the amount of carbs I need, and then it will give me the right amount of insulin, and then I go down and press next and deliver a bonus, and then I wait around 5 to 10 minutes while the insulin goes through my body.
Thank you. Now, Michael. Michael, what age are you?
5.
And how long have you had type 1 diabetes?
When I was last Christmas.
Last Christmas. And you have a pump as well, don't you?
Yeah.
And do you know how to use it?
Yeah.
And tell me about your hair. Who did your hair?
My dad.
It's very cool, isn't it?
You know, I put hairspray on it, like red and blue.
It's very cool. I think red and blue are really good colours, aren't they?
Yeah. Something's in it. Something's in it. Something's in it.
Thank you so much for chatting to the Limerick Post Show.
Okay.
What are the symptoms to look out for if perhaps you think your child has type 1 diabetes?
Again, yeah, thanks. Really important question. Because what we try and prevent is the blood sugar rising too high. So what happens is if a person doesn't have insulin anymore, their blood sugar becomes locked in their bloodstream and can't get into their cells for energy, where the result of their blood sugar level goes very high. And that makes people very thirsty because the kidneys react by trying to excrete or urinate out the glucose. Makes them very thirsty, and you notice going to the toilet a lot. So lots of thirst, lots of going to the toilet to wee, maybe wetting the bed where a child had been dry for years before, and losing weight and low energy. They'd be the main signs to watch out for, particularly in a family where there is a history of autoimmune disease, maybe like low thyroid function or celiac disease or something.
And what now is the treatment for when a child comes in to be tested to maybe figuring out that they have type 1?
So the treatment is give back what a child can't make anymore. So insulin is a person's life-saving hormone replacement therapy, and it's given either as injections. So some of our children are taking 4 or 5 injections every day, and like trying to titrate the dose to anticipated food, exercise, and their blood sugar level, which they monitor themselves. So it's all very, very challenging for the families. You can give that either by insulin injection, or there's insulin pumps now, which don't do it all automatically. It still requires a lot of engagement on the young person's part with their diabetes.
And what is the main message that you'd like to get across now today?
I think be aware, be nice to people who have it, and I think let's get the awareness out there, so less of our young people, when they're diagnosed, are diagnosed very ill and have a condition where the blood sugar's gone so high that their blood turns a little bit acid, and then they need intensive care, and that's called DKA. And currently in most Western world countries, about 40% of newly diagnosed people are in DKA. That makes them very sick. So the earlier that we can diagnose and treat young people with type 1, the better for overall outcome.
Dr. Orla Neylon, thank you so much for chatting to the Limerick Post Show today.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming in.
Now, Martin has one final message for us here today.
If you have type 1 diabetes, you can still do the same as everyone else can.
2, 1.